Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to find yourself. I hope you're having a great day. It is the 10K to $2 million funding challenge here on the Venator Trading Channel, sponsored by our incredible sponsors, Bespoke Funding Program. Grateful for their partnership with us as we are here every single day. It is Wednesday, November the 8th, 7 a.m. at New York time. And we're back on the charts. We're here every day for an hour and a half, 2 hours every single day, trying to find our A-plus setups and pass these 10K challenges that everybody wants to get funded with. So we're back at it. Just looking through some charts. I've had some orders set up overnight. Bitcoin did not get triggered in. I do want to sell from here. I wanted to sell from this position last week. Didn't get triggered in. Dropped down. It's come back up. Hit through and liquidated the buy side. I did not have this order set. It would have gotten triggered yesterday. Would have been protected from that stop, been slightly in profits. But I still think we may get one more pop up here into Bitcoin. And then I'm going to be looking to sell this. Ultimately, where I'm looking at Bitcoin is down into this large fair value gap. I think it could eventually come all the way back down here into the 24,000 range again. We'll wait and see, but that's my first initial target, is right inside this hourly fair value gap right there. That's my first target. And we'll see if we can get an entry here today on it, but that's where I'm thinking for Bitcoin. I've been hunting that sell for a little while now, and we'll see how it plays out. And we'll see if we even get an entry. I don't know that we're going to get a pull back up. I'd like to get right back up into that volume imbalance that I've got on the 1 hour time frame. There's a small little volume imbalance, little gap that I'd like to see price go back to. And if it does, we'll sell it and try to ride this wave down. This morning, we've got Fed Powell talking at 9 a.m. So all dollar pairs are pretty much off the table for me until 9 a.m. Who knows what he's going to say and who knows what effect that's going to have on the market. Currently if you just look at analysis on the DXY, we've run this sell side liquidity here from this consolidation. So we've just been bouncing around inside this range. We manipulated down. After we've grabbed this, we've had a pretty quick and aggressive reaction back up into that range. Right now, we're sitting inside this 4 hour fair value gap, this big displacement leg, and it's almost completely refilled that. It has, if it wants to come up to the top of this range and ultimately up to 108, which is where I've kind of had my eye for a while now, watched the streams for the last several weeks, if not months, and you'll note that I've had this 108 level marked out on my charts as the higher time frame draw on liquidity for dollar for quite a while. I don't know that we're going to get there. That's where I do think if it's going to be bullish, that's where we're headed. Today's going to be a big day for that. We're sitting inside this daily fair value gap, a closure above this daily fair value gap right here. We've wicked above it right now. We've completely filled in the daily. The 4 hour still has a little bit of room left on it. If we get a closure above this daily fair value gap, I would anticipate any trading back inside of that would act as resistance to push price further up back into this range and ultimately to the top of the range and at some point 108. Powell's going to speak and jibber jabber at 9 o'clock. And when he does, the market's going to be very volatile. You're going to see some whipsaw action depending on what his comments are. So for me, all dollar related pairs, we're just going to stand by, let time tick away, let Powell say whatever he's going to say, let the market do whatever he's going to do. So we can look at non-dollar pairs, pound yen, pound Aussie, euro Aussie, pound CAD. I mean, whatever it is you guys want to look at, we can look at. I'm going to be watching that Bitcoin trade, seeing if we can get in entry on that. That's the main thing I'm kind of most interested in right now this morning. Euro dollar, opposite of the DXY, the 4-hour fair value gap we're sitting inside of right here. We just tapped into this order block right here. So this down close candle is your 4-hour order block that sent price higher. So from there, we've tapped into it. The actual imbalance still has a lot of fill space down all the way to 106.35 area. And we're currently, we took out a low overnight here on London. We took out yesterday's low, and we've not been able to close a full candle body below that yesterday's low there. So, could be Wednesday low of the week in play, and Powell starts jibber jabbering, and this thing shoots up and starts running for the top side of this larger monthly imbalance. These two red lines right here, monthly imbalance right here, which is what we're trading inside of. We reacted off of it here in November. We traded up above last month's high into this fair value gap, and we've had an immediate, pretty aggressive reaction off of that. And we're now trading back underneath that monthly fair value gap. So Powell's going to control the market. That's the power this guy has. It's unfortunate, but that's just what we have to wait and see what's going to happen. What's he going to say? We've had this big leg down. This is that push up into November. And then we've just had, the monthly push up here into this wick. Last 13 weeks, 13 weeks of just downward selling pressure on euro dollar, getting a pullback here now, getting some reprieve after this massive run. Grab buy side liquidity, displace lower. You're trading back up into breaker blocks. Weekly breaker block would be up here ultimately, at least the lower end of that, right inside this old fair value gap that was violated. So could be an inverted fair value gap. It was traded through. As we come back up into it, we close out fully the monthly fair value gap, maybe reach up into this inverted fair value gap, bottom of that breaker, and then you might see lower prices from euro dollar there. Maybe. Of course, it could just reverse here. If you look at the weekly candle that's currently open, you've had your open, your high, took out last week's high, and then now we're heading lower. What does it want to do? What does it want to do? We don't know. We're going to find out today. Today's probably going to be a good the direction for the rest of the week. You might get some early manipulation off of whatever he says, and then it reverses to where it really wants to go. So we'll keep an eye on that if it wants to do that. But pound, very similar situation and setup here. Get rid of that. Trading down into the daily fair value gap. So it's taken out yesterday's low, currently trading back above, just above yesterday's low. On the weekly time frame, you can see we reached up into this fair value gap has been respected, this right here. We reached above into the higher one, wicked above it this week, and now we're trading aggressively lower. And this fair value gap right here on the weekly time frame is being respected currently. Very similar. Grab buy side liquidity, massive rundown, due for a pullback. The market doesn't just move straight down, candle after candle after candle. It's very rare you get big moves like that without any reprieve. You can see something similar here on this up move, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 weeks of bullish action, and then you get this small little reprieve, 3 weeks of down, and then it resumes. Here, down, you maybe get a small little reprieve, and then you resume down further. This large kind of pinkish box here, monthly fair value gap, that we may want to return to one more time and test it. It got tested here. Hasn't been completely filled in. It may want to retest that one more time. This is the monthly fair value gap right here on pound dollar that we have reached up into here at the beginning of November and found resistance from. It's rebalanced right into the 50% area, right into this this order block. These last two up close candles, we've closed and displaced below them. It's traded right back up, wick to body. Beautiful little order block sell right off of that fair value gap inside this order block. But that all could change today. That all could change today when Powell gives his testimony or speech or whatever it is that he's doing. That's when it all changes. So daily order block almost completely rebalanced. Daily fair value gap almost completely rebalanced. This is Friday's large move up. Monday, we wicked above it and have just reversed off of that. And we're almost completely rebalanced from that now. So this would be a breaker. This up close candle right here, up close, we ran some sell side liquidity. We've displaced higher. We left behind a fair value gap. And we've reached down into this breaker block here, which could send prices higher. We're kind of at that no man's land point of both euro dollar and pound dollar and dollar. What does it want to do from here? Is this going to be a higher low, or is this going to be a continued reversal after grabbing buy side liquidity? We need some more information, and so we'll just wait to see what direction it wants to ultimately end up giving us. Gold, looking at gold. I don't trade it, but you all like to look at it. I mean, let's be honest, I like to look at it too. I just don't like to trade it. Sitting here inside this daily fair value gap. I said yesterday, a closure below this daily fair value gap, if you get a body closure outside of this fair value gap, it can wick outside like it did yesterday. It wicked outside and then pulled back up into it. Today, if we get a closure below it, then I would anticipate that it should act as support like it did here. This fair value gap right here, once it was formed, price came down to it. It did wick below it, but you can see every body was closed either inside of that fair value gap, and it's shot prices higher. Now we're trading back down, and if it closes back through it, any trading back up above should act as resistance to shoot that lower. I would be targeting ultimately this swing low and this fair value gap underneath that swing low as an internal draw on liquidity for gold if we want to see lower prices. Higher prices, all-time highs, still resting above us here on the weekly time frame. You can see on the monthly last month, big aggressive bullish candle, completely displacing above several old monthly highs. And now we're pulling back down and almost completely filling in down to that last wick off of the September high. So see what gold wants to do too. It's tied to the dollar, so not going to be trading that or looking. Won't be looking to trade gold here this morning until after Powell's speech as well, since it's heavily tied to the dollar. Bitcoin BTC it does have USD on it, but it doesn't move. It's not so tied specifically to what the dollar's doing. It's kind of its own asset and own animal, which is why I'm willing to have this order set here. I did have orders overnight on euro dollar. I was expecting euro dollar to trade lower. I was just wanting to get a pop above some buy side liquidity before we just dropped, but euro dollar just sold off all night, taking out yesterday's low. So that order, actually, I need to, it's canceled. It's not in place anymore. I posted that in the Discord. But that's what I was hoping for. And maybe what it does is come up there and jump up to where I was wanting it to get to on that news, spike up above these highs. and grab some buy side liquidity only to roll back over. So we'll see what it wants to do there. That never got tagged in, obviously. Pound dollar, I had a similar setup. I just thought euro dollar was cleaner, and that's the orders I had set on pound dollar were up above these old highs. Here, I wanted to see London pump up, grab some buy side, and then trade lower. And all it did was just open and completely fall away. All right. What else can we look at? We can look at GJ. GJ in kind of a little tight consolidation area right now has grabbed sell side liquidity overnight. Nice clean highs right here. I would think that is prime for getting run. Any stops above there, I think are probably going to get tapped. Those are just too clean of highs. You also have nice relative equal lows now created on the sell side here below you. I said yesterday I didn't want to sell GJ. Probably should have. But trying to call a top on the yen right now doesn't seem like a good plan. Even though there's clear, trying just to guess when it wants to run this, I don't know. If I saw a good clean run of this, a good aggressive run of those highs, maybe like on the 5-minute time frame right here, just a quick stab up and then immediate displacement away, then maybe you take a sell and you target those relative equal lows down here. Alternatively, you might be able to just grab a return into this fair value gap here, which it's kind of currently at, if you wanted to target a quick little scalp into those highs, just over a 1-to-1. But I don't know that I would. No, I don't know that I would want to do that. I probably wouldn't. The yen pairs right now, kind of staying away from them. Pound Aussie, just chopping around here. Kind of similarly to GJ. It's just in this consolidation. I've had my eye on these relative equal lows down here for quite some time, for several weeks since we've been up in this weekly fair value gap here. Tested it, it's pulled away. We did make a new lower low. We pulled back up into this order block, found some resistance off of it. This fair value gap was closed above yesterday, and so it's not a great signal for bearishness when PD arrays are violated like that. When fair value gaps get closed below, it signals more choppiness, really. So I'm sorry, when they get violated and closed above. So like right here, it got closed above and we've come back down. Now this fair value gap is, you've got these overlapping fair value gaps right here. Which one does it want to respect? We don't know. It's just very rangy, very choppy. Not a huge interest in taking GA. Aussie dollar pair, I'm not interested in taking it until after Powell talks. Aussie was very weak from its interest rate decision on Monday, I believe, or Tuesday. I can't remember when it was. Yesterday, I guess. We got that. At the end of Monday afternoon session, we had that. So all day Tuesday was just selling pressure. We've retraced a little bit, and now we're just kind of consolidating. We had a big move, and now we're consolidating. So wait till Powell talks, see what it wants to do on all these dollar-related pairs. I'm just going to chill out and watch Bitcoin, and we can hang out with the chat and talk about whatever else is going on until Powell decides to drop whatever nuggets he wants to drop. So welcome in, guys, to the 10K to $2 million funding challenge. Let's jump over to our chat and see who's with us this morning. Corey first in. Welcome, OG Corey. Cisco, what's up? Saeem, good evening, my friend. Adrian, good morning. Price is just going down. What is happening? I'm not sure which pair you're referring to. If it's euro dollar, it's been selling off all week. And currently, it's just pulled back up into an order block, rebalancing, and now we're heading lower. It drops, it rebalances, and then it's going to drop, and then it rebalances and it drops. So you're just trying to, in a downtrend, you're trying to identify where will it want to reach for internal liquidity to then continue lower. Price go up, price go down, price go all around. Nicely done, Mr. Cisco. Good morning, Mr. Alfie. Welcome in, my friend. Looking for your comeback today on the dad jokes. We got to redeem yourself. Cisco, my actual guess is rebalancing following Friday's big move. Right now, I really can't find a way to get in. Don't try to find a way to get in. Don't try to find it. That's chasing price. Just wait for your setup. Know what your model is. Know what your rules are. Know what your criteria is to take a trade, and just wait for that. Don't give in to the FOMO that you should be in a trade. Fight the pain that you feel. It's not real. What's up, Beeswax? Corey says, I caught a good swing trade on EU. I wish I would have swung EU. I had that. I wanted to sell Monday. I wanted to sell so bad Monday. Let's see. I wanted to sell Monday. I was hoping that on Monday we got this drop. I should have sold that. Didn't get it. Hopefully you did, Corey. Long or short, Corey? Corey, are you selling from the Asian? George Tucker says, good morning. Red Ezekiel says, hello. I say hello back. Corey says, I got in like 3 hours before the rollover yesterday. Nicely done, my friend. Ryfin, welcome in. All right, guys. It's now chill mode. It's now chill mode. We're on standby until Fed Chair Powell speaks 9:15. So we've got. We're not going to stay on. I'm not going to stay on the charts until Powell talks at 9:15. We're not going to stay on for 2 hours. We're not going to do it. We'll hang out for a little while. We can look at pound yen. We can look at pound Aussie. We can look at euro yen, euro Aussie, euro CAD, pound CAD. Whatever you want to look at that's not a dollar pair, happy to look at it with you. But otherwise, no real desire to try to force a trade on days like this. Mr. Alfie says, apologies for the lack of dad jokes yesterday. I was in and out of work calls. It's all right. It's all right. We were definitely looking forward to redemption. But, I had to wait another day. It's fine. No big deal. Oh, goodness. What's going on in the world, I wonder? I don't know. I haven't heard much about anything else recently. Mohammed Saeem says, I really can't take this bearish price action anymore. I need a bullish trend. Come on, Powell, do something. I'm dying by not taking a trade. No, you're not. You're not. Mr. Alfie, no apologies. Huge disappointment. Mr. Alfie, here we go. Went to the shop earlier and had the rudest, slowest, and grumpiest cashier. Suppose it was my fault for using the self-checkout lane. Yeah. There you go. Welcome back. That's so much better than the Velociraptor joke. I like it. Well done, my friend. Nice to have you back. In my country, the capital is going wild. People are protesting. Strikes have become a day-to-day norm, and university is shut down for a month. That's pretty much it. Wow. Wild times we live in right now, ladies and gentlemen. Wild times. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of just conflict around the world in different parts, and it just seems like there's a lot of tension. It seems like it just seems like everything's real tight, and something could just break. Something small could just break it and send it even worse than it already is. It doesn't seem like it's gonna. It doesn't seem like we're poised for, just nice, peaceful environments around the world. It definitely. You get the vibe that around the world, everything is just ready to, it's kind of a tinderbox. And it's like, what's the spark that sends this thing over the edge? Because it's just not it's a stressful time, I guess. A very stressful time everywhere. Even here in the States. I mean, we're not in any direct, it's not like the country's falling apart, but there's a lot of stress here in the States. There's a lot of political turmoil. There's a lot of economic turmoil. People out here, it's a struggle right now for a lot of people financially. Inflation, they say it's under control. Everyone living in the real world knows it's not, that everything is still super expensive and getting more expensive. It's not really settling. And on top of things getting more expensive, it's not like everyone's making more money to even just stay equal to where the inflation is going. So that's definitely the case here in the States. And it's election season. So anytime there's election season, they're going to create problems so that they can solve them, so that they could try to win your vote. That's the name of the game with politicians. If you're in power, what can we do to create a problem that we can solve right before election time to convince people to keep us in power? Crazy. Yesterday was election day here in the United States. Local elections, state elections. I don't think there were any national level elections, but it was a big day. School was out, and it's kind of a big day to vote. You go exercise your right to vote, and there was a lot. I've already heard of several, not here locally where I'm at in Texas, but other parts of the country, where there's just election fraud, where voting machines they had to shut down some voting because the voting machines were switching votes. You would vote for one thing, and then if you went back after you submitted it gives you a chance to go back and check. And you could go back and check it, and people were seeing all kinds of votes getting switched. It just gives you so much confidence in our election integrity when that stuff happens. And it's not like that's the first time it's happened. It's like, come on, when we've got to be able to figure out why can't we not just use paper ballots? Then you get into, okay, well, who's counting them? How did they get counted? What machines are counting them? Can they flip votes? It's just crazy, the world we live in right now. Absolutely nuts. Still got this stupid cough. I apologize, y'all. I just get these little tickles, little drainage hits down there, and sends me off into a coughing fit. So I'd really love, come on, Bitcoin, just one more little pop up above these nice little highs you got built up right here. Do not drop like you did last time. Last time, price was hanging around. I wanted it to get above these highs, and it was right around here. And I was like, I want to sell Bitcoin. Missed that whole sell-off. May miss it again. We'll see. Order limits are set here on this Bitcoin trade. So tired of coughing. It's miserable. Anybody have a good like homeopathic natural remedy to get to stop coughing? Let me have it. And if it involves bourbon or whiskey, even better. What do laxatives and cushions have in common? They're both stool softeners. Your first one was better. SMC Trading Channel says, would you check a pair that's not on your watch list or not got a bearish order block on New Zealand yen? That's quite the cross right there. We can look at it. I don't mind pulling it up. I got nothing else to do right now, since I'm not going to be trading. Let's see. So you had this displacement lower. You grab buy side liquidity here. You've displaced lower. You closed below these lows. You're rebalancing that fair value gap. Respected that order block. Let's see here. Where are we on higher time frame? I mean, we've been bullish for a little while. We've closed in this fair value gap here. Respecting the most recent daily fair value gap. Again, yen pairs, to me, the yen wants to strengthen its position against other currencies. It's trying to, not doing a great job at it. And a lot of that is just because of the way they've handled interest rates in the bond market over the last decade or so. They're in a pretty tough situation. I mean, to me, I would anticipate those highs getting run. You had an inside bar last week. So 2 weeks ago, last week, you traded in between the high and the low. So far, we're still in between last week's high and low. So this weekly candle right here is the range that you're working with. Those highs and lows are the ones that I would have my eye on. You're closest to that top draw on liquidity. So I would probably be looking for a potential run of that, or even last week's high. Still hasn't been touched. So you've got last week's high right there, and you've got the previous week's high right there. So if you were to drop down into a 10-minute time frame, those highs are probably where I would want to target first if I was bullish. Potentially, you've got this nice little quick drop down aggressive run of sell side, and then you're getting some displacement higher, but you did fail to take that out and not continue up. This move rebalanced this entire drop. Pulled right back up into that order block, sold off. Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably want to see one of these previous week highs get run. So might be slightly more bullish than anything. And if that's the case, you're tapping into this push up from, so London dropped You've rebalanced that London move. You're dropping back down, but low of the week could be in here for you on yesterday's low. Open, low, high, close, something like that. So weekly expansion could be to the upside here. You got your Monday open. Well, Sunday open, really. Open. You put in your low of the week. So open, you did get a little high on Monday. I don't think this could be the high of the week on Monday, but typically that doesn't happen. Typically Mondays do not contain the high or the low. Sometimes they do. I mean, percentage-wise, when you look statistically at it, doesn't happen that often, is what I'm saying. So I think these higher time frame jaws of liquidity are where I would target it to buy. What you could do if it was me and if I was like trading a specific strategy, a breaker block strategy here could work on the 15-minute time frame where you've had this run of liquidity. You would want to see displacement above this probably up close candle right here. The last up close candle that ran, and then we ran sell side. If you get displacement above that, then you could look for a retest of something like this. And then you could target last week's high and then the 2 previous weeks' highs. I mean, not a bad little swing setup here if you want to, if you could catch a move like that. But I don't know. That's just my initial gut reaction on a pair that I have never looked at. I don't think I've ever opened a New Zealand yen chart before 5 minutes ago. Chart's a chart. Price action is price action. Liquidity is liquidity. Is U.S. government still printing money? Not currently. Well, I mean, it needs to. If it ever needs to buy its own bonds, it will just print money and say it has it. It prints money to send to Ukraine and to all these other things going on. So, I mean, guess technically it's printing money because it just randomly creates it whenever it decides it wants to give somebody an aid package. It's not like it just has it sitting there. The world equals Fugazi. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a dumpster fire all over the world, man. In my country, there's nothing called a vote. People vote in paper, and at the night it gets swapped. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Even if you went to paper ballots, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, how do you actually determine voting integrity in any election around the world with the millions of people that are voting? Like, how can you get rid of the most fraud possible? It's like you're not ever going to eliminate it. How can you get it? Unless it's just completely televised, like there's actually a public vote and you can't change your vote, but it's no longer a private matter, right? Like you would have to publicly declare your vote. That's the only way every vote could truly be counted with verification is you stand up and you state or you are visibly watched and observed to vote. And if everybody did that, that's really the only way you could truly have election integrity. If you keep it private, you introduce massive potential for fraud across the board. But this has been going on since the creation of, the democratic process. The democratic process is everybody gets a vote and the majority wins. Well, we'll just create our own majority then. We'll tell you what the majority, just trust us. This is what the majority says should happen. Just trust us. Actually, that's the same. You could use that same logic for all of the fiat currencies in the world. Just trust us. This is a valuable piece of paper in your hand. Just trust us. There's nothing backing it except our good faith and word that we're good for that. Same thing. Just trust us. 3-minute time frame. I'm not going to go down 3 minute. Bitcoin took Asian and London buy side, so it might just drop from here. I agree, Andy. Bitcoin may not want to come back up. Sadly, I really hope it does give me one more push. It got close. Yeah, really close about an hour and a half ago. It got within like $35 of my entry. That's as close of a swerve as you're going to get on Bitcoin if it gets swerved like that. Cisco, I got to go, guys. Good luck finding those bucks. Thanks, Cisco. Good to have you, man. John, welcome in. Saeem, actually, the U.S. doesn't print money in that less than 3% as paper currency. It's true. Of the trillions and trillions of dollars of money, quote unquote, that are in the market, most of it's just digital. It's just a number on a balance sheet somewhere. Actual dollars printed is not. There's not that many actual dollars printed. But the concept is still the same, right? It's still, they're just creating money. They're just creating and saying they have X amount of dollars, X amount of monetary value. GJ trying to push up into those highs that we pointed out here at the beginning of the session. Yeah, you can see here on the 30-minute time frame, we're kind of heading into this chop right here, 15 minutes, so it's a lot clearer. Just heading into chop, and this is all pre-Powell chop right here. That's all it is. It's pre-Powell chop. It's what the hell is Powell going to say today? Pound dollar doing the same thing. You can see Aussie's probably similar. Aussie's a little bit more whipsaw. But it's still inside all of its choppy range anyway. I'm real interested to see what happens with GJ if we can get an aggressive run of liquidity. We get a nice big sharp displacement candle here on GJ, and then something falling away if you could sell it. I talked about selling GJ yesterday, and I talked myself out of taking that trade. Selling yen right now is just. I feel wrong for doing it. What's so happening at the Gilded Gal? About the same. About the same. Daily fair value gap is this. What happens inside if today's close with this box is going to be important. Do we close back up above it or inside of it? Or if we close below this box, then This liquidity is your target and this fair value gap below it. And it may run that today. I mean, gold could easily just run that today. And that may be the result of Powell's speech. Oh, goodness gracious, y'all. While we're waiting, I'm going to check a couple messages here. You don't need to push a trade today. You know, I think like Saeem was talking about, just wanting to be in a trade like you're missing a move. You're not missing a move. Just wait until you've got your setup. Like there's no reason to just find a trade. Even if you only take one trade this week, let's make it the best trade you can make. Make it count. Like, you don't have to come into the markets every single day and just find a reason to push a button. Especially when you know there's impact news, you know before the high impact news, you're going to get consolidation, you're going to get chop. If I was not streaming, knowing that Powell's speaking today, I probably would not even open my chart to look at what's going on, because I could just tell you the market's going to chop until Powell speaks. That's it. That's what you know is going to happen. And there's no reason to try to just get in on anything because the market's open. Don't do that. Around 36K liquidity pool above Bitcoin scares me. Nah. That high was respected. 36K is fine. I mean, if we're wrong, we're wrong, but it's rebalanced all of this price action over here. Still has a little bit up there, yeah, that little fair value gap, but it's reached back up now into all of these wicks here. So I think we're done. I think we're gonna head lower from this point. Get a pullback and at least rebalance. If it wants to go higher, I think it's gonna want to rebalance some of this stuff here on the daily time frame. I think if it wants to rip a lot higher, I think we head back down here into the 20s somewhere. Maybe down here into the 24, 25 area. If it wants to climb to that 40 area, which is above these old highs, I think you're gonna see a pullback first. Last week's low, about 50% of that big, huge weekly pump. It's rebalanced. We've gotten into 50%, almost 50% of that right there. So I just want to see it drop from this point. People that are trying to buy Bitcoin right now, I kind of feel sorry for them. This is not where you want to buy Bitcoin. If you think it's going to go up, wait for it to come down into these levels. Wait for it to clear out this sell side liquidity. If you want to buy Bitcoin, don't do it at this level. This is a premium. So you sell from a premium position. John says, I got a good long yesterday on gold. I waited for it to return to the real trading hour open, which was at the bottom of the initial balance, as well as a low volume node, then targeted a 30-minute swing high. Good job, John. Making money off the Gilded Gal. John can't stay away from the Gilded Gal, man. John's in there all the time. We'll just wait for that stiletto to the temple story from John. It's going to happen. We'll get one from him soon, because that's what she does to you. Saeem says, isn't a country's currency or paper money has a value directly linked to gold, and U.S. government can print out of nowhere because U.S. dollar had ended the connection with gold? So, yeah, up until the 70s, the United States dollar was backed by or valued against the amount of gold that the United States had on reserve. And in the 70s, they went away from that. They said, nope, it's no longer pegged to the value of gold. It just is what we say it is. Just trust us. It's valuable. That's what they said. Just trust us. And that's what every country in the world ended up doing. The BRICS financial conglomeration, that's like Russia, Brazil, India, China. I can't remember who else is involved in all that, but Saudi Arabia, maybe. I can't remember. They are now introducing their own gold-backed reserve currency. And that's why, you know, some people were thinking that the dollar might find a lot of weakness, is that they were trying to attack the dollar's position in the world as the reserve currency. And I mean, to be honest, if you can create a currency that's backed by the value of gold, you're going to have something a lot more legitimately valuable than just a country or an entity that just says it's valuable. So yeah, the United States can just say it has money, and they can just keep adding numbers into their bank account on their books, because it's not backed by anything of value other than the value is that America is still the the strongest economy in the world, the largest economy in the world, and that's the value that it carries, is that we're okay. That's what they basically want you to believe, that everything's okay, we're okay. Just keep buying our debt. Don't worry about the $30 trillion of debt that we owe. Don't worry about that. Just don't worry about that. In fact, they can make that debt lose value by the more dollars that are out there, the more dollars they print, quote unquote print, the less the easier it is to pay off that debt, and the less valuable that debt becomes because of inflation. If you got a $10,000 loan 20 years ago that was expensive at the time, compared to a $10,000 loan now, that $10,000 loan isn't as expensive. I don't know if I explained that well enough, but you can print enough money to where the debt you took out in years prior is just super cheap and doesn't mean anything anymore. What's up, Warren Buffett? Welcome in, my friend. Welcome in. This might be an interesting spot to try a little scalp on GJ right there off of that retest of that fair value gap. Again, if you just wanted to get a quick like 1-to-1 up into these highs, potential little area, 10-minute fair value gap right there. Let's see. It's 7:50. We still have got an hour and 30 minutes. Again, I'm probably not going to stay on for another 2.5 hours until Powell decides to start talking. So. Is this the low of the week? Is Wednesday morning here at 5:30 a.m. the low of the week for euro dollar? How you answer that question is going to determine what you're looking for over the next hour and a half. Bitcoin making us a little push up here. Would like to see it jump above those highs. I heard oil made a big jump. Is that right, John? No, did not. It actually dropped. And is dropping. Even with the cuts, the supply cuts that I think I heard about between Russia and Saudi Arabia, I think there's some supply cuts coming. But off of its September highs, has just been tanking lower pretty aggressively there. Coming back into a little demand area. You know, these relative equal lows underneath all of those weekly lows there. And then you've got a lot of relative equal lows underneath all that. Took out the buy side. Took out these relative equal highs here. And then we just wham, dropped, rebalanced. That big move, dropped. No rebalancing here. It'll be interesting to see if it closes below that swing level this week. Or if this is just going to grab some liquidity here and then this would become a breaker. If this weekly candle on oil closes below, this would become your down close candles that ran all of this buy side liquidity, displacing through, breaking this order block right there. That's what a breaker block is. It's an order block that's been broken. So once that gets broken and you get that confirmation when this candle closes underneath here, any return back up into that breaker would be an opportunity to sell into these lows down here. It's inside this monthly fair value gap. This candle's low, this candle's high. In between is the imbalance that it's currently sitting inside of, which would also line up with probably an OTE, an optimal trade entry level from that last leg up. Well, yes, it's about to touch it right now, in fact. You're in a discount. This could be a nice buy area there. We'll see. You're approaching that level where everyone's selling it and you're looking for a chance to now buy oil because it's back into a discount, aggressively back into a discount. So wait for those shifts on the lower time frames. If you're bullish on oil, wait for a shift here. Strong, clear closures above key levels. And then retests of those to get in if you want to be bullish. I don't know what is happening with my internet since the election season has come. Our main servers of internet has been burned when opposition started protesting. As Bangladesh government denied to leave the chair when elections come, and my internet has literally dropped to 3G. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I know that's frustrating. We're so reliant on an internet connection around the world to do everything. And when it doesn't work right, very frustrating. John says, I also took 13 handles out of ES yesterday. Good job. Entered on a retracement at a support level. Is that on your Top Step account, John? Are all these trades, these wins, did you take them on your Top Step? Oh. Nice. Well done, John. How is the challenge going? Like, have you seen any difference in the way you trade your personal account versus the prop firm Top Step challenge? Is it what you thought it was? Is it easier? Is it more difficult? Do you feel like you've got a pretty good grasp on the Top Step piece of it now? I trade less conservatively. Interesting. So on your personal account, you're more conservative, but with the challenge, you're less conservative. You're being a little more aggressive. If I read that right. Hmm. Is that a it was that a conscious decision, or is that just something that you've found yourself doing? And is that out of a desire to pass quickly? Like, what? Why do you think that's happening? I'm just interested. Is that a conscious decision you're making, or is that just something that you've noticed that you, I don't know, maybe you just don't care? You're like, oh, it doesn't really matter. It's a simulated account. It doesn't really count. Is that why? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. It's not my money. Yeah, not my money. So I don't have to be as, hey, Kirby, what do you know? It's not my money, so yeah, I can take more risk. I'm not going to be as worried about it because it's a simulated account. That profit and loss and those numbers going up and down aren't real. It's just really a test of my ability to analyze the charts and find moves. Bitcoin about to get triggered in here. It has not been triggered in on my Think Markets account yet. It's very, very close, but not yet. Very close. I'm thinking of it like a performance interview. And that's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. Can you perform? Let's see how you perform. Show us how you trade. SMC trading. How do you work your risk for Bitcoin as I use Stenu for Forex? So I just have a trade assistant, a trade assistant EA on my MT5 account. And I just drop in, it looks very similar to TradingView where you just drop in your lines with your box where you want your entry, where you want your stop, where you want your take profit. And then you just tell it how much you want to risk, 1%, 0.5%, 2%, whatever it is. You just tell it, you input your risk, and then it auto calculates the lot size for me. So I don't do any of the calculations myself. Good morning. Hi, buddy. Okay. All right, let's see here. What are we seeing? What are we seeing? If you're trying to win a football game, you ain't running power, dive, counter all game long. That's right. You're not. You got to change it up. Crazy. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'll look into that. Yeah, it's called Trade Assistant MT5 is the name of the EA. You can buy it on the MT5 marketplace. I think it was like $90 or something. I've had it on there for a couple of years now. I've never used anything else, and it's worked perfectly fine. But yeah, it's a little panel that sits, a little trading management panel that just sits on your MT5 window, and yeah, it's pretty powerful. You can set auto break even, like if price moves 1R or 1.5R or whatever it is. You can set partial profit targets. So wherever your full take profit is, you can tell it to auto partial you out all the way down to your take profit. I mean, it's pretty powerful. I don't use all the features it has. I just basically use it for a lot size calculator. That's pretty much the only thing I use it for. Good morning, Numinous. Welcome in. Yeah, Powell's going to speak. Muhammad, I'm going to go. Catch you later, man. See you. Is available on MT4. I do think they have a version on MT4, yes. Trade Assistant. Look for Trade Assistant MT4. I think they have a version for both. Still have over an hour before Powell starts speaking, and I'll probably stay on just for a little while longer. Bitcoin? Did Bitcoin get in? No, it did not. Are you kidding me? I wasn't watching it. Wow, what a swerve. What a swerve. That's crazy. The high of Bitcoin is 35,474.56. And my entry is 477. $3. And talk about, when you're talking about $3 when the price of Bitcoin is 35,000, a $3 swerve is pretty impressive. That is insane. How did that not get triggered in? Y'all. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I don't know if you can, I don't know. I can never hold my phone up in a way that you can actually see the swerve. Oh, come on. Where is it? Look at that. Classic. That's a classic Venator swerve right there. It doesn't get much better than that swerve. Wow. Impressive. Impressive, I say. My swerve ability. It may still trigger in. That may not be the final drop. It is not free. It does cost money. I think it's like $90 last time, or $80, $89, something like that. The last time, well, when I bought it, it was. I don't know what it is now. I haven't looked for a long time. If you go to, if you search MT5 or MT4 market, it's not difficult to find it. You can buy it inside of the MT5 market. MQL5.com. MQL5.com is the website. And they have MetaTrader 5, MetaTrader 4. It's all there. And you can search for Trade Assistant. And there it is, $100. That's the one I use right there. And they have one for MT5. I promise you they have it for MT4. I'm just on the MT5 search panel. So, but this is exactly what it looks like right here. This is exactly what I do. I just drop in my box. I put in my stop loss where I want my entry. I put in my risk percentage, either by percentage, or you can do it by dollar amount if you don't want to do a certain risk percentage. And then up here, you've got settings. You can have a trailing stop loss. You can have a break even part. You can have take out trades in part, like partials. It shows you the lot size after you hit lot calculate. You hit lot calculate and it shows you what your lot size is. You sell stop, sell limits, all of it. It's all right there. So this is exactly the one I use. $100. But I bought this a couple of years ago. But there is an MT4 version of this. You can also rent it if you don't want to pay for the program outright. You can do a subscription. And I'm not sure how much the free demo. There's a free demo available. There's a free demo available, but I don't know what all that does. So mql5.com. And if you go to MetaTrader 4, I'm sure it probably has one. Yep, same thing right there, MT4. So just go to mql5.com and you can see all you need to see. GJ starting to run up, about to run into those highs there. I don't know how they do Bitcoin lot sizes. I know like the lot size I have on this specific trade is 0.16 is the lot size I would be using, and I'm risking $100, 1% of the account. And I just cannot believe that swerve. Look at that swerve. What the hell? Come on, man. Come on, man. You saw it live right here. Did he just throw up? Freaking Kirby, man. What do I think about yen pullbacks? I don't know what to think about yen right now. Yen, I don't want to call it top because yen's super weak, but there's some obvious sell side liquidity zones that it may want to reach for. I kind of want to take a oil scalp here. All right. This is a completely discretionary trade, but this is what I'm looking at. And just trading off the low of the day being in is my anticipation here. 75.85. And I'm just targeting the relative equal highs up there at 77.46. Risking $100. So these highs up here are what I'm targeting. And that's a live trade. I used to trade oil, haven't traded in a long time, but doing it today, taking it. If price gets up here above these highs, I'll probably move to break even. Otherwise, I'll just leave it. See how it goes. I can't believe that Bitcoin got swerved. Jeez, man. That's frustrating. Everybody else trying to trade euro, dollar, pound, dollar, gold, and all this chop. I just like this lower time frame setup here. It may get run. It may flip around inside this fair value gap. But what I'm targeting is these relative equal highs right up here on the hourly time frame, 4-hour time frame. Get back up and rebalance that fair value gap one more time, thinking the low of the day may be in here off of this fair value gap right here. Just so you don't think I'm crazy, I'm not just, there's a reason why this is a counter trend trade, 100% counter trend trade. But I like the buy side liquidity targets right up here. I think this low of the day is in. This is my perspective, that the low of the day is in on oil. And I would like to see a intraday retrace back up into above those highs and into that fair value gap right there. Bare minimum. That's where I'll go to break even. And then profit target would be above that. Moving back up into this fair value gap currently. Nice to see that pump. Get a nice little run of liquidity, a break of structure. A naked phone call. Thong. Oil longs despite drilling increases in OPEC still having lower output intentionally. OPEC is definitely having lower output. They are in a cut, which is another reason I would anticipate some pullback here as well. With the output getting cut, even though drilling is increased, I think you could see, and you've had quite an aggressive sell-off here. You have quite an aggressive sell-off. You would anticipate a pullback, at least back up into this breaker block here, and rebalance some of this massive move from yesterday. So, again, I'm not looking to get a run all the way back up into this order block, although it could. That might be a nice swing hold. It's run sell side liquidity aggressively here. So It'll be interesting to see. This is definitely a counter trend trade. I'm risking 1%. We are not quite 1-to-1 yet. Let's see here. Yeah, we're just like at half R currently. This fair value gap is going to need to get violated, obviously, because this is just rebalancing currently. The last down move. And again, this trade is a bet that the low of the day is in. That's my perspective. And based off of this daily fair value gap being aggressively traded through, and now we're getting a pretty good reaction off of it. And there was a lower time frame change of structure, retrace, and now we're rocketing off. So these fair value gaps here are what I'm hoping get violated and traded through. And if we can get a closure, or at least even tag this area here, which would be about 1.5, which is really where I typically go to break even. I usually go 1.5, but because that structure's right there, if you get a tag of that structure, I would move to break even, which is about 1.6R. And then I would just see if we could capture the full 3.25 above those highs. What's your average hold time for a trade? It just depends. A couple hours typically. If I'm trading off of the 15-minute time frame, somewhere between an hour and 3 hours typically. Not much longer than that. I don't like to hold trades over sessions. And today being Wednesday, the rollover swap on Wednesday is the highest. So I would probably definitely be out of any trades before the Wednesday rollover. Those swap fees are the highest on Wednesdays. Oil is running in a bear pennant, probably a counter trend. Oh, it's definitely a counter trend trade. No doubt about it, John. This is totally a counter trend trade. But it's in a very deep discount on a higher time frame. It's run sell side liquidity at a specific higher time frame point of interest, and it's shown rejection off of it. This thing could completely collapse and keep tanking lower. 100%. No doubt about it. This is a counter trend trade. Bespoke has a big spread on Bitcoin. Hope you included it in the limit order. It is included on the limit order. It's not too bad, actually. It's I don't know what a good spread is on crypto because I don't trade it that often, but it's $20, I think. When you're talking about a $35,000 valued asset, it is a not quite $20. It's like a $17 spread on Bitcoin on Think Markets. And on here, what is it? It's like $12 on 8cap, which is the chart that I'm using is an 8cap chart. It's like $12. So it's a little bit higher than 8cap. It's like $15 currently. $15 spread. $100% a counter trend trade here. No spread on futures, just saying. Cisco says short Euro New Zealand has a positive swap at the moment, so I don't want to handle that. Well, there you go. Positive swaps are always good. No spread on futures. No monthly fee on CFD platforms. Just saying. Also true. Also true. So just from a structure standpoint, you've had this break of structure. You've had this nice little fair value gap here on the 5-minute time or 3-minute time frame. 5-minute as well is right here. Little fair value gap on the 5-minute after displacing higher above that. So did GJ still hasn't run those relative equal highs yet. Gotten close. Man, that swerve. What? That's so frustrating. What a swerve. Dollar push it higher here before the news hits. About 0.5% in profit here on this oil trade. Have a full 1% at risk, and we're a 0.5% profit. Actually, a little bit more than now, about 0.7%. Again, these higher time frame fair value gaps need to be violated, closed above. Currently still just repricing and rebalancing that displacement move. If you can get displacement above here, this would be a breaker, a nice little run of liquidity, and then you get displacement higher. And these relative equal highs, it's a good, easy first target level. Obviously, you've had a big move down, so you have a lot of levels that you could work with here on higher time frames. You know, if it wants to close above this on the hourly time frame, this order block here on the 1 hour, really the 4 hour, this little could be another potential target right there, wick to body, that 4 hour order block right there. If it wants to push back aggressively here. And then that would, if you wanted to, like if this trade worked out and you were like, hey, I really aggressively think low of the week is in, low of the day is in. We need to retrace that move from yesterday. That's nice 6.5 R. I don't know that it's going to go that high. I would just target this buy side liquidity here first. That's just, I'd be happy with that. I would be very happy with a nice 3.25% gain here. Off a 1% risk. John Winded asked when I got in just a few minutes ago. I got in at 8:18. We've completely filled in that. Nope, not here on the higher time frames yet. $30-minute time frame has almost filled in that fair value gap there. Trading back up into that first little 30-minute order block. If it's going to go lower, it's going to go lower from here. If the trade's going to fail, it would be from this level. So we'll see what it wants to do here. It hasn't tapped into that 5-minute fair value gap yet. It was a market order, yes, John. We're almost to 1R. I think we got close to 1R right around there. Let's see if that trade got to 1R. Just above 1R, maybe. Sure what the commission, what's the 2.6 volume size. Sitting right around 1R, in that this 30-minute fair value gap, this order block is what's currently holding price down. Like I said, if it's going to reverse here, this is probably where it would put in a new leg lower off of this 30-minute order block. So it needs to, we're going to need to see some displacement higher here, or you could just see a wicked rejection off of that level. 20 minutes here left on this 4-hour candle. We'll see how it closes. It's closing bearish, but putting in a nice rejection wick off of that daily fair value gap from this level over here. And you can see after this massive move down, so far this morning in the New York session, you haven't seen the continuation of that. You did see a drop, but you're getting a rejection now off of that sell side liquidity. So it's kind of at the make or break point of this trade. Off of this order block, and completely rebalanced this fair value gap. So we're right at 1R full of profit currently. Oil opens in 12 minutes. Well, maybe we'll get a good push here. Maybe we'll get a good little push in 12 minutes. How about that? At least get to break even. That'd be nice. Little retrace, grab that buy. If it wants to go lower, maybe it wants to reach up and grab that little buy side liquidity, these relative equal highs, the liquidity resting up above there. Give me a chance to get to break even, and then it can do whatever it wants. There's a nice little push. This 30-minute candle is the one that I want to see close above this fair value gap. I have full position on, no runner. I'll take full position off at my TP level. I'll move to break even here. around 76.85, and then we'll see if it can make a full push up to that 77.50 area. Oh. What a choppy news day. Oh, Mr. Powell has so much control over. Oh, here's GJ getting a pop into that buy side liquidity there. Will be interesting now to see on GJ if we get a sharp displacement from running this buy side. Oh. I'll just mark out this little level here that I want to see. That's the top of the fair value gap that I would like to see a good body candle, a body closure above that here on the 30-minute time frame. I love it when you trade commodities. There's a glimmer of hope you will trade futures indices. I may try a Top Step account on the stream. Oh gosh. You like to remind us of all that every time we talk about it. But you got to pay that monthly subscription. So it is not quite $1. Unless I'm wrong about that. I could be totally wrong. I might not know what I'm talking about, but I think that monthly subscription is what, $49 or something? A free reset last week. What, did you just email them and say, hey, reset my account? I didn't know what I was doing. About to move to break even here. We're about 1.3% in profit. Getting a nice good push here. Nice little V action. Run sell side. Tried to do it here, couldn't get back above. Ran it deeper again into that fair value gap, and now we're getting a nice rejection here on the oil off of that daily fair value gap. I think Apex has 90% sells. They gave it to everyone who was watching Top Step TV. Oh, cool. Nice. Were you in drawdown? Did it help you? Like, were you in drawdown and you actually reset it for free and got back to break even? Well, or fortunately, you were watching and you got a free reset. So, wham bam, thank you, man. Good for you, buddy. Stupid gold. Uh oh. Oh yeah. See, Gilded Gal. Gotta stay away from the. Got it, John. You have a problem, man. We need to have an intervention with you and the Gilded Gal. Will gold or will oil push up here in the next 13 minutes and engulf this last bearish candle? What a nice little tweezer action here on oil. Kind of makes me want to just hold that all the way up to that order block. You had a great time. But see, that's the thing, is that's how she treats you. She treats you like trash, and then the next day she's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Let's have fun. Just so she can treat you like trash again the next day after that. You know this, John. You know this. You know her wily ways. Eurodollar trying to make a push for low of the day here. I'm still kind of ticked about that Bitcoin swerve. Ugh. GJ, here we go. Look, we talked about this. GJ running buy side, and then you get that aggressive sell side displacement lower. This low, these relative equal lows down here. Ooh, what do we do on GJ? Wait for a break of structure. Look for a fair value gap. Write it down. I know, me too, Cisco. It's, God, the yen. So just GJ playing off the 15-minute order block after sweeping the liquidity you were on about was going to enter too. Bank of Japan pockets are just a little deeper than mine, so I don't want to fight them. That's the thing, is I don't. If they're wanting to manipulate here and they're wanting to strengthen their currency, then a sell here is great, but it's so weak. I just don't know if I want to do that. I mean, part of me really wants to, but you are getting clear displacement after running that. Trade with the market, what you see on the market, right? I'm going to set a sell limit there on GJ. 185, 123. And I'm going to target those lows down there. 184, 548. Sell limit set on GJ. I'm gonna take a stab there. And we'll see what happens. I'm targeting this 3-minute fair value gap right there as an entry. Stop above the daily high, currently in place. Oil, look at oil pumping. We'll take it. All right, I like that. I'm going to go ahead and move to break even here on my oil trade. Let me get back over there. We are in on the yen trade. We are entered in. We are short on that GP. I can't even talk. We are short. We are triggered in on Think Markets, so we're short there. That trade is active, and that is a 1% risk as well. Oil is pumping hard. Let me get back over here to my WTI. We're at 1.7%. We have moved to break even, so this is a risk-free trade on oil. Let me screenshot that, put that in the Discord. Oil trade has moved to break even. Look at that pump, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Pretty sure we're going to close outside that gap. Unless we get a massive reversal here in the next 7 minutes. Which is completely likely. I mean, it totally could. GJ back inside that 3-minute fair value gap here that I was using as an entry. See if it wants to respect it now and head back into the range, or if it wants to just make new highs and continue to run buy side. Looks like it wants to run higher. Looks like we're going to gotten into early on that GJ reversal there. Trying to anticipate after that run of liquidity a pullback into, it still may work, but run the liquidity and then pull back into that range there. I was anticipating a break of structure here, fair value gap, and a reversal lower. Oil just ripping though. Great catch on oil. Currently only 1% at risk here because we are break even on the oil trade. And if oil hits its TP, we're 3.25%. We lost the GJ. If we lose the GJ trade and oil does hit TP, we would still be up 2.25 on the day, which is a great day. I'm probably going to call it here in just a minute. We're good 2 hours in. I do have some things I got to go take care of this morning, so. Man, with such an aggressive reaction off of oil right here, I really am tempted to hold oil for the rest of the day. Not take that TP there and target this area here. This 4 hour fair value gap right there. That would be a 4.6 R trade. Do I do that? What should I do, chat? Do I hold out for 78? I think I kind of want to. I think I kind of want to hold for 78. I think I'm going to. I have moved my TP to 78.00. Yo, big or go home. Why not? Let's do it. It's a risk-free trade. Let's hold it. We got to close in 2 minutes here. You know, I'd prefer it not to just rip down here at the end of this last 2 minutes. See if we can get a body candle closure at least above this body candle closure. I'd like to see this hourly candle close above this body hourly close. I'd like to see it close above that wick. I don't think it's going to here in the last minute. It'd be great if it did, though. 4 hour candle closing. GJ's about to rip higher, sadly. It's all right. Here we go, last 45 seconds. I don't want to see this oil just tank here in the last 30 seconds of the close. Maybe we can get a big push here on the market open. What Cisco said. All right, we're holding for 78. We'll see if we can get 78. All right, we did close above that last hourly open, so that's nice. I like that. The 30-minute candle closed above that fair value gap, which is nice. This fair value gap was disrespected right here, so this would become, let me just pull this out. I can use this box here. This would become an inverted fair value gap at this point, and we would look for price to respect that that fair value gap. So any return down lower here as the market opens, any pullback into this fair value gap, we would look to see price be respected. This next fair value gap here is the one that it obviously reached up into and rejected off of there at the end of that last hour. So that's our next kind of trouble spot that we're going to need to get through. This was my initial TP area. So we'll see how that goes. GJ, yeah, we're still in the GJ trade. I have a feeling that thing's going to get slapped. Too early of an entry. Probably should have waited for that 5-minute closure on GJ there. The 3 minutes been disrespected. All right, U.S. oil, new 4-hour candle has opened on the 30-minute time frame here. We would want to see price be supported now off of this inverted fair value gap. On the lower time frames, this 15-minute bullish fair value gap, which aligns with this 30-minute inverted fair value gap. So you have multiple PD arrays working to confluence to push price higher here. And GJ about to get tapped out. Very close. And GJ's gone. So we were wrong on that counter trend trade there. Fail. Took the loss. GJ stop loss hit. All right, we'll see if oil cooperates with us. We can pull out some profits here. Again, if oil comes back to break even, it's a 1% loss for the day. My initial TP, I'm not going to change. Like, I wouldn't take profits there where we're at. Like, my TP was right up here at 70, almost 77.50 above these highs. All right, I think I'm going to call it there. We'll watch oil off the stream or in the trade. It's a good position. We'll see how it wants to play out here. If it wants to give some kind of retracement after yesterday's big push down, we're targeting 78, which is this 4-hour fair value gap, and back inside the old swing low there. So that's where my TP target is here. Get a little reprieve here, anticipating the low of the day being in. We're sitting at break even, so we're all good to go. Now we're just watch and wait. I'm going to set an alert up here, see if we can get above these highs. I'll screenshot that if we can. Otherwise, nothing else to do. I'll set an alert at break even too. I'm not going to sit there and I'm not just going to sit here and watch candles print. Come on. Drag it up. Why won't it drag up? All right, well, 76.23. How about that? $76. Why did it do that? Now I can't even get rid of it. All right, let's just do this. All right, we got an alert to break even. We'll see what everything wants to do. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Happy hunting. Stay safe. We'll be back on the live stream tomorrow, 7 a.m. New York time. Don't. Powell's going to start talking here in about 10 minutes, so just chill out. Don't do anything with dollar pairs, at least for the next 30 minutes or so. Let it settle down. But you guys stay safe, happy hunting, and we will see you mañana. Adios, y'all.